Welcome everybody. It is January 15th already. We're just halfway through the month in our jump into January. And guys, at last count, sometime yesterday or the day before, as an organization, for those who had chimed in, we had secured over 100 new bookings. So yay!
Wow.
Wow, that is amazing. And I know some people are still just getting themselves off the couch and they might be on their first call tonight. When you go into the Jump Into January group, click on units on the left and you will see two units. One says ticket opportunities, so you can go through there, make sure you've scooped up all the tickets you can, and the other ones are the recorded calls. Okay, that way you don't have to go sifting through and scrolling through, 2 weeks of posts in order to find what you might need. Because the ideas I shared in week 1 and week 2, you can jump in and do them now. All right, but on to week 3. This week, we're going to be talking about out and abouts. But before we get to that, you guys all know you're CEOs of a small business, right? You know that? Yes. So, and David, thank you for this analogy. Let me ask you something. If you had opened a restaurant, would you only tell people you knew really well about it? Would you prejudge who you told? Would you only reach out to maybe 25 or so of all the people you know? Or would you be putting it all over the place, blasting it out there, because you never know who might want Italian food if you've got an Italian restaurant, right? Or if you were going to sell a car, would you only tell a few best friends or people you knew well? Or would you post it on Facebook, ask your friends to share it on their walls, and look for yard sale sites online to sell it, and maybe put something in the newspaper, right? Because people don't have to like you or know you well in order to buy your car or come to your restaurant. Well, guess what, friends? The same is true with Pampered Chef, okay? People just have to want Pampered Chef products, or to get them for free if they're gonna have a party of their own. And think about all the people you see when you walk out your front door, not necessarily just the ones you know really, really well, but think about when you go into a grocery store, a restaurant, your coffee shop, a church, a yoga studio, or a gym. Think about all the people around you. So imagine if you had some strategies where you could comfortably connect with some of those people. Imagine how many leads that you could have for your business. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. People are all around us. They're everywhere, and they all have to eat, whether they love to cook or hate to cook. And before we get on to strategies, how many of you have little kids or had a little kid at some point in your life? Kids, anybody? A few of us, probably half. Okay, when your kids were little, did any of you do what I did and leave a bag in your car packed with anything you might need? I always had a bag that had like change of clothes, some snacks, diapers, wipes, anything I could possibly need. It was already packed in there. I maybe looked at it once a month to swap things out and restock it. Well, guys, you can do the same with your business. All right, just have something in your car that's airtight, so it doesn't get wet if and have anything you might need when you're out and about. You can have catalogs, host packets, you can have recruiting information, you can have the current and upcoming host specials, guest specials, and of course sign-on bonuses.
And the information slips.
Yes, thank you. But that actually doesn't go in your car. That goes on your body. Information slips meaning some kind of survey slip where someone can fill it out and you can get their contact information, because that is super, super important. Okay, and also think about what water bottle you're carrying. Do you have a logo bottle that you could make your go-to that's always with you? Do you have some kind of logo bag that you can carry with you, or a lot of you have your qualification pins. Could you put that on a coat you're going to be wearing over the, I mean, it's winter where I am. Stick it on your winter coat that you're going to be wearing all the time, because it's free advertising. And when you're going to be out, I mean, think about, since this is going to be our focus for the next week, think about where you're going or where you could go over the next week. There are places that some of us have to go. Some of us work outside of Pampered Chef and you got to go to a job. Some of us maybe have young kids that have to go to a bus stop or school or after school activities. Maybe you're going to a gym. Think about the places you have to go, but also think about, like, do you always stop at the same place to get coffee in the morning? Although we're Pampered Chef consultants, we probably make our cold brew at home, right? But so be thinking about all the places that you have to go, but also thinking about places you could go. So I've got a couple of people who have been historically really good at out and abouts, and they're going to share some tips. First, we have Kathy Dalfonts. She's an executive director in our team, and she's from Florida. And she's done some things with pampering local businesses that she's going to tell us a little bit about. So take it away, Kathy.
Thank you. Yeah, I did a lot of pampering local businesses when I first left full-time employment at NASCAR. So I go to the dollar store and I grab those cute little dollar baskets. You got to do everything at the dollar store. And at the time, we still had the potato chip maker. So I would make up potato chips by the bag full. But now I do the little brownie bites in the mini muffin pan. And I also make up the popcorn. A lot of times I'll do the one that's on the back of one of the older Season's Best with the peanuts, or, well, I don't do peanuts because you never know about peanut allergies, but pretzels and chocolate chips and things like that. So I put a couple of little foods inside. Of course, my catalog. A Season's Best. I used to put the toaster tongs in because they were only $2. They've gone up a little bit, but I mean, honestly, even if the basket costs you $5 to $10, it is so worth it. You put in the host special for the month. You want to put in the guest special. You want to put in the Come Join Us, which I don't think is called Come Join Us anymore. And of course, your information. All over the place you want to put your information. And then you just drop it off at your hairdresser, you drop it off at your dentist, you drop it off at your fire stations. Don't forget, they cook all the time. Karen, you know this, right?
Absolutely, every meal.
So you definitely, I mean, we have 5 fire stations in town. So I just stopped in and brought it all to them. And I also did, when it was, and we have it coming up May, but I did pink cupcakes. And I stopped at all of the mammogram places in town. So, I mean, every time there's something coming up like that, I would make something and just drop it off. Sometimes I would leave them with my little mini muffin pan in it. So I would have to go back and get it just so that you had that follow up.
Yeah, Kathy, what would you say as you were dropping something off? What would you say?
When I went to the fire stations, I just said, I introduced myself. I've been with Pampered Chef for 10 years. I know that you guys have to cook all the time. And quite frankly, I just want to tell you how much we appreciate everything you do for us. And so I wanted to drop off a few of these things, take a look at them. And if there's anything I can help you with, I'll come back next week and check up on you. I would love to help you in any way. The usual. I don't ask them if they want to do a party because I'm very uncomfortable with that. First of all, whenever I feel it as whenever you ask somebody if they want to do a party, they think they're planning a wedding. It's just got to be like the worst things in the world to say to somebody. Oh God, I just had a senior moment. Damn, I hate those senior moments. Oh, sorry. But hairdressers, I have set up at my hairdressers and made the cool veggie pizza. So it's made ahead of time, but it's just there for them to munch on and just to let people know that you appreciate them. That's the most important thing. That's why I hit the doctor's office, the dentist's office. The hairdresser, yeah, but that's not an appreciation. The fire department really and truly is. So.
That's great. I mean, think of all those places, and the only thing I might add on is realtors' offices. Um,
Yes.
yeah, and you can make mention, if that they might need closing gifts, and you could get them a really good deal on them. If they're interested, they can look through the catalog. And I love how you give yourself permission to come back. You don't say, call me if you need anything. You say, I'll be back next week to check in on you. So, just to see if you have any questions.
Right.
Yeah. So, and you can look for a need to fill. If you're at the fire station, you can say, if you guys would like to update or upgrade your kitchen supplies, I can give you a great deal on this since I'm part of this community and I benefit from the service you provide. I would love to give you a service as well. So, yes, Dave.
Just sort of tagging on that, for organizations like that, for churches, for any place that has a communal kitchen where people are eating, you can always offer to do a fundraiser for the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
You got the firehouse. They may need new pots and pans. They may need sharp knives. They may need all that kind of stuff. And instead of saying, do you want to have a party? You can position it as a fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
Animal rescue.
Yeah, anything, and it takes the pressure off one person
Mm-hmm.
to run this thing. Of course, there'll be one contact person, but it's a group effort. These people are going to go to all their friends and families and say, we're doing a fundraiser. So it can spread out wide. And there have been fundraisers for how much? Over 2,000, over 3,000, over 5,000, just depending upon.
Yep. And what the theme is that I'm hearing is looking for a need to fill and offering a service or a solution. So it's not going in there for our benefit, but going in there to say thank you to the fire department, going in there to let realtors know you might be able to help them with some great closing gifts. So offering a service, offering a fundraiser, things like that. Yeah. So guys, the potential is limitless. What you might want to do after this call is pick a buddy and maybe brainstorm. Oh my gosh, where am I going? What can I do? What can I say? Things like that. Now, David is really good. We went to the mall one time and I saw this man in action and I was just blown away, trying not to have my chin on the floor. He talked about a really natural recruiter when he's out and about shopping. So David, you want to just tell him a little bit about what you do?
Sure. When I'm out and about, and sometimes it takes me going to someplace a few times before I realize that I haven't said anything to anyone. But when I'm out and about, I pay special attention to customer service. I pay special attention to the person who will go a little beyond and above, maybe what you've asked for, is cheerful, is happy, seems to enjoy what they do. And then asking a series of questions like, "Woof, I bet you're really glad the holidays are over, huh?" And they'll say, "Yeah." And I said, "I'm just curious, what happens to your hours after the holidays? They get cut back?" And usually they'll say either yes or no. And if they are cut back, I say, I was just thinking, as thank you, Karen Batty. Just like this isn't pre-rehearsed at all. I was just thinking, I have a way that you might want to look into for supplementing your income now to get it back to where you want it to be. And they would say, how? And have you ever heard of Pampered Chef? And it's either yes or no, but if there's a no, it's usually, but my mother loves Pampered Chef, or my sister loves Pampered Chef. So it's a great way of sort of doing it organically, depending upon who you're talking to. But you have to have sort of a tickler file of questions to start with. Who's the first to greet you in a store? But that person is obviously taking the initiative to offer good customer service. If you're at a restaurant, is your server giving you excellent service? Sometimes you could be at a greasy spoon, but the server is just outstanding. And then come those questions about, my gosh, you are awfully good at this. You seem to really enjoy talking to people. that's so nice that you've taken great care of us. And then sort of working it from the, I don't even want to say working it, but taking the conversation a bit further, talk about seamless. I was walking my dog once, and I walked down a block that I don't usually walk very often, and there was a woman throwing a Pampered Chef box away. And just to make a long story short, she's had 2 parties, because I asked her about the box. And she said, I love Pampered Chef. And I got this at a friend's party, and I said, what about a party of your own? She said, it's been years. And I said, well, let's do one now. She said, okay. So it's out there if you're willing to, if you're not one of those outgoing, friendly people, to just sort of, you have a chance to create the person you want to be because you're talking to people you don't really know. So even if you're shy, for this one person, you can pretend you're not shy and just talk to them.
Yeah.
And you'll be amazed at how quickly it gets in your muscle memory, and you just walk into every place you go and you observe everything that's going on, and then you take it from there.
And there were 2 things I noticed when I was out and about with you in the mall, because once we had one conversation, you were like, oh, I could do this everywhere. I could sort of make this dynamic happen. And I was like, you can. So we went into a store and someone asked if you needed help, and you picked out a shirt and asked for it in a different color or asked for it in a different size, just to see what kind of customer service they would do and what they would do for you. And it almost gave them an opportunity to serve you so that you could then say to them, thank you so much for all you did. I can't believe you called 3 stores for me. So that was one thing. And by the way, when you're going to ask them if they'd like, additional form of income, don't forget to say, and those of you who are on my personal team probably know what's coming next. I'm a consultant and
trainer.
I'm a consultant and a recruiter for the Pampered Chef. And I'm always looking out for people who give outstanding customer service, just like you did today. Are you at all looking for an additional form of income? Because
make it very clear that you're not trying to take them from their job.
Right.
Because if the manager's around, then you're out on your butt.
Yep. No, you're just looking for, people who want an additional stream of income, because you'd love to have someone like them on your team. If nothing else, they're going to feel really complimented. And a lot of people in retail, who in retail isn't looking for another stream of income, right? So a lot of them will be. Another thing that somebody said who's very good at out and about, she says, is this your dream job? I mean, most people's dream jobs are not retail. So when they say, or waitressing. So if they say, oh, no, not really, say, because if you are looking for additional stream of income, things like that. And then you want to be able to get their contact information. So make sure you have those survey slips. So that was one thing David did. He looked and asked people something that they could do. The other thing he did, which was amazing, we went into a store, he was looking at eyeglasses. And he said something about, I have to make sure, they fit nicely on my head or something, or they don't reflect because.
Will I have them back by Friday was my question.
That's right. Will I have them back by Friday because?
Because I'm going on a business trip.
Yes.
Going away for business. Oh, really? What do you do? I think, I don't know where I was going or what I was doing. I just needed them for business.
Yeah.
And when they asked what I did, I told them Pampered Chef, and I got a booking. There's one other thing. Karen and I walked into the Sharper Image, and I have no interest in anything in the Sharper Image, not the Sharper Image, Brookstone. And I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? Because there's nothing I'm really interested in. So I just turned it right around to the person who was helping me, and I said, what's your favorite product here? What's your favorite product? Well, it says, tell me about it. Why is it your favorite? What does it do? And again, depending upon how they answer, you can sort of, wow, that's really interesting. You really seem to know what you're talking about. And thank you for spending the time. And then you get right back to the customer service sort of thing.
Now, if you don't have time to take a lot of time for one day to go specifically shopping for leads, just keep this in mind when you're going to that coffee shop, or when you need to go to a particular store, even at a grocery store. You know, if you're looking for a particular cut of meat, or you know, you're wondering about how to find a particular fresh produce of a certain kind, maybe you never bought before. You can ask for assistance almost anywhere you're going. And remember, you're a consultant and a recruiter with the Pampered Chef, and you always are looking for people like them who give great customer service.
And for those of you for those of you who don't have the experience, anyone who is approached by a recruiter when they're in business, whether it be retail or a legal firm or anything like that, when someone says, I'm a recruiter and I really, you know, I'm really blown away by the work that you're doing, would you ever consider whatever? They're going to be complimented because someone tried to recruit them.
Sure.
That's a compliment. It's not an imposition. It's not anything awful. You're actually complimenting them by saying, I think you're so terrific. I'd love for you to work with me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Then there's a third way that you can do out and abouts. Okay, so you can pamper a business, you can shop for leads. And a third way that you can do is one that I've done because I used to consider myself shy, especially when doing out and abouts. And I just did a drawing. I went out and I took survey slips with me for about a week. And everywhere I went, I didn't go to any drive-ups. I went in. And I took my survey slips with me. So I went to the bank to make a deposit and I said, hey, guess what, guys? I'm a new Pampered Chef consultant in the area, and I'm going to be doing a drawing at the end of the week to celebrate, you know, my new business, or you can say to celebrate the new year, and they can fill out the survey slip. You say it's free to enter, you just fill out the survey slip. And I'll call if you win. And you can let them know, by the way, there's some questions on there with some services that I offer. If you're not interested, just check off no, and I'll only contact you if you win. But if you are interested in information about any of the services I offer, just let me know. I'd be happy to email or text that to you. So I took it to my hairdresser. And think about your hairdresser or a hair salon or nail tech. Those people need to build a customer base just like you do. So they're apt to want, you know, to kind of feel where you're coming from. And if you've been at a hair salon for a while, and they don't fill out your slips and stuff, well, they know you can go to another hair salon, right? So I took it to my dentist's office, my eye doctor, just anywhere I went around town, I just had them with me for a week. At the time, I had 3 preschool age kids, so this was not something I had a lot of time to do when I first did it, but I just fit it in where I was already going. And then really, if they checked off no, I just thanked them for filling out the slip and emailed them a nice recipe for the season. I did give somebody a prize. The prize was a season's best recipe booklet, nothing outrageously expensive. But there were quite a few people who checked off that they wanted information about things. So it is a great way to get fresh leads. You could also do blend that in with what's called a logo drawing. Let's say you've got your Pampered Chef bag over your shoulder and your catalog tote, and someone says, "Oh, Pampered Chef," you go, "Oh, you are so lucky. You just got a free ticket into my drawing. It's my logo drawing. Everybody who knows my logo bag gets a free ticket into my drawing." And you hand them the slip to fill out. Okay. And again, I always say to them, if you're not interested in anything that I'm offering, just check off no, I'll contact you if you win. But if you're interested in information about any of the services I have to offer, I'm happy to give that to you. Okay. And then anytime that you're out and about and you might just start talking with someone, you might find, well, how do I get their information then? I mean, it's one thing if I'm doing a drawing. What if I've done the drawing and I meet somebody the next week? what I do is I look for something of service to give them. If we're talking about, a product that they love, I might offer them a recipe to go along with it. If they haven't hosted in a while and I say, oh my gosh, I'd love to send you the link to the new catalog so you could see what's new. Or if they're interested in the business, I'd love to send you the link to my website that has information about the business. So I actually sometimes will hold off handing them the information, because if I have it in my bag and I hand it to them, well, then they don't need to give me their contact information. So I found it was actually better when I didn't have everything I wanted to give them on hand, because then I could say, hand them my phone and say, if you want, just log yourself in there and I'll text you that link. Or if they're on Facebook, here, just send me a quick friend request on Facebook and I'll message you that link. So you're looking for something of service to them based on the conversation you had, rather than, hey, this is a great conversation, I'd love to follow up with you. Can I have your contact information? Like, oh, salesperson going to be chasing me down. So look for something of service to give to them. All right. Well, hey, all right, 3 minutes to spare. We got a lot of information packed in a short amount of time. So every person you talk to this week when you're out and about, and you mention it on our Jump Into January under the post that I'm going to be putting there, either probably tomorrow, I'll say tomorrow, that way I can give myself the rest of the night off, you're going to get a ticket. But some of you might have heard of Laura Polito, and when she has a new lead, she's like, I'm so excited, I can't wait to tell my team about you. And she leans in, asks them first if she can take a picture, and then she posts them on her team page, and we call it Pull in a Polito. So if you pull a Polito and you get a little picture of you and your new lead, and you can just say, hey, I'm in this competition this week to see who can chat up with the most people. So it would really be helpful if I could take a quick picture. You will get an extra ticket for getting a little selfie in there. Okay. So I will record this call. I will post it. It's being recorded. I'll post it either tonight or tomorrow, and then the post under which you can put all your leads. So figure out where you have to go this week and how you can tie something in that you heard from one of our few strategies that were shared, or think about where you could go, where you'd love to go. And if you're thinking of going to a particular place and you're not sure, how would you open that conversation? Post it into the Jump into January group, or post it to the team group, or reach out to a buddy or your director. But I think if you post it into Jump into January, we might get lots of cool ideas. So that would probably be the first place to post it. All right. And without further ado, we did 2 more drawings this week, and the winners are, my drum roll. Winners are Stephanie Baker from Palm Coast, Florida. Woohoo! And Haley Walkup from Salem, New Hampshire. Yeehaw! So it was all East Coast this time, but who knows? Maybe the winners next week will be West Coast. All right. Okay, everybody, have a great night. How do you stop recording?